Okay, we're now live on YouTube, and I will go and call this meeting to order. It is, scroll down please, 10:04 a.m. on Wednesday, October 23rd. And first thing we'll do is roll call. Mr. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Freitas?
I can Freitas.
Mr. Freitas is on the call. Mr. Freitas, you there?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yes, thank you. And Mr. Quesada?
I'm present.
All right, let the record reflect that we do have a quorum. Pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. All righty, next item is the approval of the agenda and the previous minutes. These were previously emailed to you. The agenda for October 23rd, 2024. Today, and the agenda for our September meeting. The minutes for our September meeting. They're also reflected here on the screen. But again, they were previously emailed to you for your review.
I'll make a motion that we set the agenda for October 23rd, 24, in the minutes dated September 18th, 24, Exhibit A.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Freitas, for making that motion.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Quesada, for the seconds. Seeing no opposition, the motion passes. Okay, next item is the open forum. We are here at the school. There are no guests that came to the meeting this morning. And I am checking my Zoom participants, and there is no one else on the call for open forum. So we can go to the next item, which is discussion and action for fiscal. We have September 2024 financials, Exhibit B, and then several bars that I'll let Priscilla explain and go through. Again, all these items were emailed to you previously. We did have a finance committee meeting prior to this board meeting a few days ago, and went over all of these in detail with Mr. Freitas and Ms. Gonzalez. So again, we'll go ahead and let Priscilla take over this portion of the meeting.
So I'm just bringing up our budget report that was previously sent out. Everything reflected is current as of 9/30/2024. So you'll see our budget balances have.
Priscilla, real quick. Hi, Ms. Gonzalez. I just want to welcome.
I'm so sorry, I had a patient with me, but we're good to go now. I apologize for the delay.
Okay, no problem. We
Just getting started.
yeah, we're just getting started. We got through approval of the agenda in the previous minutes, and we are just now getting started on the financials.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
All right, so you will see our budget balances drawn down compared to our previous other meetings. And like I said, it will kind of draw down as we go on throughout the year. So I'll go ahead and go into our revenue, and then I'll go ahead and show our visuals for budget. So September revenue is totaling $234,203. And again, this is from our operational SEG, a couple RFRs for current year that have been submitted and come through our bank. Our vending machine allotment, some adult meal fees, and then our HB 33 allotment. On the right, you'll see our pending RFRs. And these are pending as of 10/21, so earlier this week. So we have $80,000 in RFRs that are outstanding currently. Our disbursements for September are totaling $268,847. If you'd like, you can go through and go through these in detail. We did, this one I do kind of want to bring up, our BPA membership, Business Professionals of America. We've gotten that in for our business pathway students. So they are currently getting started attending a CTSO conference today.
Crystal, I do have a question. If we can go back to that one, that last one. On the reissue of 3562, what does that one mean? Sorry. On line item 230, that one of reissue of 3562.
So this was a check that had been voided because it had been over a year outstanding. Once we did check in with STS, who is our bus transportation provider,
Okay.
they confirmed that they had not received the check. So it was a little bit of a delay just because it was done in a prior year. So there was a little bit of cleanup done there to issue that in 24-25.
Okay. And are we doing an audit regularly? Like every 90 days to make sure checks are clearing?
So it does show outstanding in our bank statements,
Okay.
but I cannot follow up on it until it passed the year, that the check would have been voided. So at that point, it was confirmed it hadn't been received and we
Okay.
did, but yeah, I'm
Okay.
hoping to have that a little more under control, but this was, I think the only one that really got through us.
Okay, cool. That works. Thank you so much.
And Madam President, typically even the vendor, you know, if they don't get it when they expect it, they'll let us know, but. that
Yeah, they
didn't happen.
usually call. That's why.
Yeah. Money, but
Yeah, okay. Well, then, no, that's good. As long as we know that occurred, because I'm sure that might be a question later on, you know, if that were to ever come up, at least we know. Because most vendors will check for payment within 30 days.
yes.
So, okay, great. Thank you, guys.
So I'll go ahead and move on to our visuals. And these have been updated a little bit. I know Ms. Gonzalez had asked for some call out lines, but that is a little difficult in our operating just because there are so many objects to pick up in there. It is a work in progress, so I'll keep kind of playing with it to see if we can get it to portray a clearer picture there in the amounts.
Okay.
But you'll see there, you know, our salaries are always going to be highest, and then kind of trickling down into the benefits. We did go ahead and get into some instructional supplies, so that's what the 5/6s are. And then, you know, just going through that month with salaries being our heaviest expense. So moving on to this second chart, I did group all of our funds that were not operational into this one. So you'll see our 2300s here are our activity funds. So there's been a little bit of movement in there, just starting the year and kind of getting supplies, fundraising, that kind of thing. And then as we get into our 24s here, these are our federal funds, anything starting with 24. And you'll see that our Title I is, you know, being drawn down. And then again, our ESSER here, which did expire September 30th. We have all of the month of October to get those invoices paid out and final RFRs on November 1st. So we do currently have all of this encumbered. I think there was maybe a small portion of it that has that we have budget balance in there currently. So what I had talked to Mr. Martinez and the Finance Committee about was, you know, creating journal entries from previous expenditures, since this did expire 9/30, to kind of draw down that balance completely. And then again, you'll see in our 27s, these are our state funds reimbursable, our next gen, innovation zones, and family income index. So we do have all year to spend this down. So we're on track to get that at zero come June 2025. here's our monthly revenue comparison. This is still current year, comparing from August 2024 through September 2024. I know Ms. Gonzalez had asked for prior year, comparisons in the months. So I'll get that worked up. But yes, this is reflecting August and September revenue for current year.
Thank you.
Are there any questions on the budget reports so far? Okay, I'm going to move on to our bars, which are, we do have a large list to kind of go through. But I did create this small tracker for our bars, but I also wanted to kind of reflect and show you what they are looking like when we submit them to PED, so that you all are exposed to that end. But we'll start here with the maintenance bar. Maintenance bars are usually approved by governing board and do not need PED approval. So once these are approved, we'll go in and create a journal entry. Whereas like a transfer bar like this one does need to be approved by PED and go through those levels before we can actually make that adjustment on our end. So this first one is for our near peer tutoring program. We'd initially planned to purchase a time clock plus system to track our students, entries as they were going through that tutoring program. But since it's in our implementation stages and we do have a small group, it was decided that it's best we kind of start out with paper timesheets and then work up into some software that can keep track of that. So it was proposed instead to use the budget for that, for healthy snack and food items for students that are being tutored and the students that are tutoring. So that was about $480 that we moved in budget. Again, this is not increasing or decreasing, simply changing budget within the lines.
If I could remind everybody that this is for our current students, primarily in the education pathway, they're going to be tutoring elementary and middle school students from J. Paul Taylor and being paid for their time that they're tutoring.
That's excellent.
And then our next bar is a transfer bar. So going through, when we were planning for innovation zones, actually all of our budget, we're kind of projecting from April what we're going to be doing here in the fall. So as we kind of regrouped and realized our needs at the school, we did realize that we might not have needed so much budget to purchase a vehicle and instead have a service, STS actually, to bus our students, our construction students, to a work-based learning site where they're being transported every morning and then coming back. And we did need approval to have some of that vehicle money budgeted into contracted services. And that's in the amount of $33,900 for the year.
How much did you say?
$33,900 for student transportation.
So that's, yeah, there's just a regular route basically that they pick up our students from our school in the morning, take them all the way across town to this new home build that they're building and bringing them back about 2.5 hours later.
And that's for the whole year.
That's for the whole year, yes, sir. We have currently we have about 15 students. Once we get about 15 more OSHA certified, we will have up to 30 students going over there every day. And yeah, the burden of using our 3 vehicles that we currently have, every day, having 3 drivers, round trip was just too much. So this was our best solution to contract the local bus company to take us there every day.
When it hits 30 students, are they gonna wanna revisit the contract or?
No, the bus will actually hold 45 students, so as long as we stay under that, which we definitely will, the contract will stay the same.
Thank you.
Yes, it is Las Cruces Public Schools. I mean, they contract their bus service as well, so it's actually STS, but it is a LCPS, bus route that finishes in the morning and then they come here, finishes their regular route wherever that is, and they come here and service us, after they do their regular route for LCPS.
Okay, so moving on is another maintenance bar in our near peer tutoring. We did realize we had budget left over in our additional compensation for the instructors that are going to be heading the program. So with our partner school, J. Paul Taylor, where our students are going to be tutoring, it was decided that we would also offer additional compensation for any of their instructors that would be helping with the program there.
Well, wait a minute, let me explain it. So our students are going to St. Paul Taylor, and we're paying our students, and then we're paying J. Paul Taylor's staff to tutor their own students. Is that what we're saying?
We're paying J. Paul Taylor's staff to mentor our students as they're tutoring their students. So,
I have some concerns about that. If our students are tutoring their students, we're doing a favor for them, and then they're mentoring our students. What does that detail?
because they're doing it off contract time, Mr. Davis. So,
They're not doing it on school time.
correct. Like after school programming and stuff like that.
Well, okay, I still have some concerns about that, but if you're all right with it, I guess I'm all right with it.
Yeah, it's from that near peer grant, so that's one of the allowable expenses to do that. So it's not out of our operational funding or our own CTE funding or anything like that. It's all from that grant. And it's a small amount. Priscilla, is it?
Yes, $600 in December and $600 in May.
Yeah.
Okay,
And our students are getting $15 an hour.
for how many hours a day or whatever?
They're still working out the schedule, but we're going to exhaust attempt to exhaust the actual grant, which is it $25,000? $25,000 total.
Well, that I think is excellent. I think that our students are getting paid to help other students. I commend y'all doing that because it helps them and it that's excellent. That's excellent.
Okay, yeah, sounds good, thanks. Yeah, and that stipend was just so those teachers would feel a little more comfortable working off their contract time.
Okay, all right.
So, okay, so moving on, another maintenance bar. This is simply budget cleanup in our Title I funding. We do support our math teacher in this fund. Just recently, we have had to kind of split that into our operating expense as salaries are increased and, the Title I budget is kind of remaining the same. So this year we are doing a 60-40 split in Title I for her salary. And this budget adjustment request is just cleaning up her benefit lines for, medical, dental, life, those kinds of things. Next bar is similar. We did have additional compensation for our SPED director as he's also the inclusion teacher for the school. And this is just simply budgeting lines in the additional paid benefits such as, FICA, Medicare, that kind of thing to cover those lines.
And we've always given our SPED director an additional stipend for director duties, but this is the first year we moved that into the IDEAB fund.
Oh, that's good.
Right, moving on to our next maintenance bar for Etzer. Again, maintenance in our benefit lines for the additional compensation that had been processed over the summer for software and supplies and materials. Again, looking at Etzer, we might need maybe a couple other bars to completely clean it up, but I am confident that we are going to exhaust that fund by our deadline of November 1st. All right, the next is a transfer bar in our operating account. And this is just to cover our salary and benefit lines for food service. We do have two people on staff that provide custodial and food service duties. So this was just covering benefit lines for that certain function. Right, and the last one is our Carl Perkins Fund. We actually realized that in getting the STS student transportation taken care of in our Innovative Zones grant, there was some budget that we were able to move around from student travel into something that our instructors had specifically requested this year, which was AutoCAD subscriptions. So we did get quoted for 5 seats and we're able, as an allowable expense, to post that into our Carl Perkins grant, which also expired on 9/30. So with this addition of the subscriptions, we are on point to have that also spent down by the deadline. Those are all the bars that I have presented. If anyone has any questions on budget, I can answer them now, but if not, I believe a motion I'd like to request a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I also move that we accept a report from our financial secretary.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Davis, for the motion. Can we get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Quesada.
Okay, so seeing no objections, motion carried.
Thank you, Ms. Gonzalez. All right, thank you, everybody. Okay, we'll go on to the next item, the report from myself. There are no action items under this report this morning. And as always, I'll start with enrollment. We are currently at 206 students. We did finish 40-day a couple of weeks ago at 201 students. So we are at a really good spot as far as our enrollment and should see an increase in our SEG, in January or February once our increase in enrollment hits, because we, did not project that many students. So we got over our projection. Currently we're at 206. We do have 66 freshmen, 59 sophomores, 41 juniors, and 40 seniors. That's the breakdown by grade level. We have around 60% are female, about 40% are male. That's kind of typically been the norm of the last few years as far as that breakdown. And, over 95% or so Hispanic. And then we have, the other ethnicities represented, but primarily Hispanic students. And that's what our breakdown in enrollment is. So we'll definitely keep an eye, obviously the focus is on all of the students, but we have a special emphasis in getting those seniors, getting their graduation requirements taken care of this year. Doing a lot of interventions are focused on them to make sure that they're coming to school, passing their classes, and again, meeting their graduation requirements. Ms. Salas, as the senior advisor and senior student learning community teacher, works with them, every single day, expose them to a lot of post-secondary options, a lot of career options, a lot of job skills, career skills, soft skill development, and really just trying to meet their needs, whatever they are. individually, and making sure that we get as many of them, graduated successfully as we can. Obviously, the most important thing is to get them, to a point where they graduate and move on and have a productive start to their adulthood. But also, secondarily, we're really trying to get our graduation rate up. So, hopefully that will come up as we, have more of these programs implemented, that we have that I'm going to talk about here in a few minutes. But just know that the emphasis is on those seniors. We do have interventions for the entire school, and really do our best with all grades. But those seniors are the most critical at this point, since they're about to be finished, and that's how we'll approach it.
Let me ask a question. What was the projection? Was it 170 and how much did you go over?
The enrollment
Yes,
projection was 183.
okay, so you went over by 21 students?
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
That's good.
And again, we continue enrolling. We're enrolling 5 more this week, so they keep coming, and we'll keep taking them. We're not near our enrollment cap, so as they come in throughout the year, we enroll them, because we're we don't have a lottery system because we're not at that cap yet, and we won't be that cap is 325 students, so I don't anticipate in the next couple of years, getting to that number and having to do a lottery.
Now, in terms on the funding, will it just go by the deadline that they gave to you, or will it be on the student that you still get in?
It'll just be based on that 201 number, which is the 40-day count. And then our 80, which is in December, and our 120-day count, which is in February, will have more of an impact on next year's budget.
Okay, all right.
Okay, the next item is the renewal hearing. We have a PEC hearing on November 13th at 2:30 p.m. We are in the process of preparing for that. As you know, we did turn in and submit our application in September. We had our site visit later in the month of September. We received a site visit analysis from the Charter School Division that was very positive and recommended a 5-year renewal with no conditions. We also received a Public Education Commission PEC letter that outlines some of the things that we need to highlight in the hearing. In that letter, there was no additional areas of concern. I believe that letter is Exhibit B in your packet that was emailed to you.
Mhm.
And Priscilla's pulling that up on the screen right now. So hopefully you got a chance to read that and check that out. But the most, important part of that letter is that second page, where they do highlight that there are, no additional areas of concern or of interest, from the PEC or the CSD. So we're just going to, focus our renewal presentation on those areas that we need to improve on, which is highlighted there. Those indicators 1A, 1B, 2B, and 2F. And we're also going to really highlight what we put in our application, and answer questions from the PEC, the panel that they have there in Santa Fe, and go from there. So the individuals that are going to be at the hearing, Ms. Gonzalez, I believe, is going to try to make it.
Yes.
Obviously myself, Priscilla, my leadership team, my SPED director, my bilingual director, my CTE director will all be there as well as far as adults. We're going to take a couple of students that recently graduated that are doing very well, that we still have a very good relationship with, and that they really truly believe that Las Montañas has helped them, in their high school experience, but also what they're doing now. And then they're also going to have try to get 4 current students there as well to talk to the commissioners and answer questions if they have any directly to students. That was a recommendation by the Charter Schools Division after they did the student focus group with our students. That day, they said, you need to take them to Santa Fe with you. Commissioners need to hear from them. They're very well spoken. They have a lot of great things to say, and we think it's important for you to take them. So I'm not going to, ignore that recommendation. So we'll plan on taking them as well, and giving them, an experience like that, and also take the opportunity to show them around Santa Fe and Albuquerque, and make a, little field trip out of it as well. So that's the plan for, you can go back to the agenda now. That's the plan for that hearing. And does anybody have any questions over that process? After the hearing concludes, at that moment, we will get a vote on renewing our charter, as soon as that hearing concludes. So we'll know on November 13th. And, again, we saw the recommendations from the analysis and the PEC letter. We're pretty confident that we will get renewed, and hopefully it will be 4 or 5 years without conditions.
Yeah.
Good.
Mr. Dan Hill or Miss Sam, is there anything else I missed on any of that?
I don't think so. I feel good about where we are, and Kaz and his team has really put together a strong application and has done all the work, so we'll be prepared for the hearing.
All right, sounds good. Thank you. Okay, next item, innovative zone update. Priscilla went over some of those budget details in that presentation. But yeah, we're really going full steam ahead on the innovative zone values, on what the innovative zones, are all about. There's been a lot of communities of practice, a lot of trainings that Antoinette, our CTE director, Jeff Waugh, our work-based learning coordinator, have been a part of, as well as our CTE teachers. The 6 pathways that we are offering are in full swing. In fact, today, there are 18 students and 4 teachers at the Las Cruces Convention Center for a career technical student organization leadership rally. So they're there participating in that today for the full day. We already talked about the near peer grant. That's part of that as well. So everything's really in full swing. Implementation is happening. We basically planned all last year, implemented a little bit here and there, but we have full implementation going on right now for innovative zone principles and practices and values. Which brings us to the next item. It includes the project-based learning kickoff that happened right after fall break on October 7th. And from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., all of our students and all of our teachers are working on project-based learning. And that project is specifically tailored to a specific career pathway that every single student is involved in. For example, the audio-visual pathway is working closely with construction. They're learning math concepts. They're learning English concepts. They are building items. They are actually building a home, and they are making a film and video about all of these processes. Very soon, the audio-visual students are going to be working on a film competition that's going to focus on the homeless problem in our city. And they're also working on a video that we're going to highlight and present at the PEC hearing that we just talked about. So those are examples of what they're working on in project-based learning just for those 2 pathways. Again, that's happening from 9 to 11. When we get back from the winter break in January and begin with term 5, that's going to happen all day long. There'll be 3 different projects going on. Again, where students are gonna be focused on their career pathway and one specifically, and then the other 2 are gonna be focused on core classes and content classes, so they could start, not start, but continue to earn credit for their graduation requirements in the areas of, math, English, social studies, science, and other electives as well. All of this is tied together with work-based learning. So we have, again, about 15 students at a job site every day at building a house on the East Mesa. This week, they focused on plumbing. They put some plumbing together, and they're working obviously with a foreman from KT Homes and all of the subcontractors that are involved in building a home. So they work with the plumbers. This week, again, they lay pipe down. They learn how it all works. So really, when they get out to the job site, they have like basically like a class and a lesson on site explaining what they're going to be doing that day and why it needs to be done. And then they actually get in there with their tools in their hands and connect pipe, use the glue, use the solvents, all of those things that need to be done. And right now, in fact, today and tomorrow, they are doing inspections with the city to make sure it's done properly. And then next week, they're excited because they're going to pour the foundation. So that's happening with our construction pathway students. We need to get another group OSHA certified. So that's going to happen in the next few weeks. And then we'll be able to get more students out to that site once they get their OSHA certification and their tool belts and their uniforms, their hard hats, their safety glasses, all of those things. So if anybody's interested in going to check that out, let me know. And they're out there from 9 to about 11:30, and we can go out there and see them in action if anybody's interested in doing that. We talked about the near peer students doing tutoring. We have a student placed at NMSU with the IT department over there doing work-based learning. And we're focusing on seniors right now, but Antoinette and Jeff are working on getting the interest of all of the students, and by January, placing all of them in some sort of either part-time or full-time work-based learning experience, which may just include for the younger students, even some job shadowing, 1 day a week, and until they get a little older, get a little more soft skills under their belt, and then be able to actually, work a little more regularly as they progress throughout our programming. Any questions on any of those items?
Kaz, no, there's no questions. I actually just want to applaud for everything you guys are doing. I love it. I love the idea of putting the kids out there, making them work and actually have some real life skill experiences. I did have a question. You mentioned about us paying them and all. Are we working with them also to understand the finances and how that's going to work? Perfect. I see you nodding your head.
Yes, we are. There's a financial literacy component to all of the PBL projects. So yes, we definitely are doing that as well. And yeah, this is kind of what we talked about the last couple of years. Again, we're in the implementation phase, so it's really exciting to see all of these things happening. We're still in the early stages of implementation. So as the weeks and months and semesters progress, you're going to be seeing more students involved in these things, more industry partners coming on board, and eventually seeing our graduates getting jobs, which is the whole, purpose and the foundation of why we're doing all this, to give our kids a better opportunity when they graduate, make sure they have a skill that is, employable, and that they can earn, more than, a minimum wage or just a survival type of wage, and really thrive in their young adulthood. So, those kids that are out there, for example, building that house, those subcontractors are already taking an interest in a particular student because they have an interest in plumbing, So those conversations, those connections are being made, daily and weekly. And they'll continue to be made if a student, really likes a subcontractor, or if they just want to, work on a crew that, for KT Homes, for example. I mean, these industry partners desperately need workers. So it's, a marriage that has a lot of potential, as far as our students, our programming and industry partners working together, to, really improve the community, improve the lives of our students.
Mhm.
All right.
Thank you
last
for that info.
item.
Great work.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Casada and everybody else. Last item, athletics. We have Lady Rams volleyball is in full swing right now. We just had an event on Friday, where we had about 4 or 5 hours of matches, versus New America, versus Explore Academy Las Cruces, and a couple of private schools. There was some other like club teams that were a little younger that participated as well. But it was really good competition. The girls had a lot of fun. There was a lot of good sportsmanship, the whole day. So they've been working really hard, practicing outside in our outdoor court, in the elements and on the blacktop. They're able to get inside of a gym, with officials and scoreboards, and play several matches. They are going to go to Silver City early part of November for a full day tournament, and that will wrap up the volleyball season. So I just wanted to give you a quick update on that, let you know how that was going. Other than that, that is all I have. If anyone has any questions or comments, let us know. And if not, we can make a, go ahead, Mr. Davis.
Does Amy still work there?
Yes, Amy, she's watching the front desk right now. We have a few people out, and then the others are at the CTSO leadership rally today, so
Okay, I just wondered, I haven't heard from her, so.
yeah, she's still around. Fortunately, she'll be hard to replace, so I'm glad she's still around.
You right about that. Yes, I'll move the, is that all?
That is all I have, yes.
Motion in order to dismiss.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Davis, for making a motion for adjournment. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Mr. Quesada.
Scene? No. Do we have to make a motion? I forgot. Do we have to make a motion and then?
No, we're good.
No,
See,
right? We
yeah.
could just say scene. No opposition, motion carried.
Yeah, we got the motion, Mr. Davis. You got it, and we got it a second. And yeah, no opposition, so motion carried. We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye, guys. Thank you.